Hi, everybody. We studied this week the Torah portion of Ki Tavo, and I am sharing with you a Rebbe's message from the book Selections from Lekutei Sichot, the first part of Ki Tavo. At the beginning of this week's Torah portion, the Torah teaches us of a very specific mitzvah, and the name for it in Hebrew is Bikurim. Bikurim translates to first. And the mitzvah is for every farmer who grows fruits in Israel that are part of the 7 species. That includes figs, pomegranate, dates, and olives and grapes. When the first ripe fruits appear on the tree, you must bring them take them off the tree, but may not benefit from it or sell it. Instead, you must put them together in a basket from every tree that is in his farm or orchard or field, and bring it to Jerusalem and find a Kohen and give it to the Kohen, presented as a gift of appreciation for God's blessings. The way it was done was that when the season was for the trees to bear fruits, it would be during beginning of summertime, around May or June. All the farmers from from the farthest region will gather together all the fruits, put them in nice baskets, and march towards Jerusalem. When they arrived at the nearby town, they would be greeted by the nearby town's citizens and spend the night. In the morning, the farmers from that town will join them. And so they will march from town to town over a period of couple of days, and then they will arrive in Jerusalem with many, many farmers from all across the state of Israel. And the Kohanim, the priests, will be waiting. When the farmers would meet the Kohen, they would present the baskets with the new fruits and turn to the Kohen and say that this is a gift that he's offering to God for the blessings God had blessed them. And the Kohen in return will respond with a blessing that they may repeat the same, and may God bless them again next year to be able to bring again those gifts. This is the mitzvah of Bikurim. It's called Bikurim from the root of Bechor, firstborn, a child. Bikurim is the first fruit of the tree, and they are the one that must be brought to the Kohen. The Rebbe points out 2 major important points. Number 1, says the Rebbe, that the idea of Bikurim must be the first of the fruits that grew on the tree, which are the highest quality. And it seems at first peculiar, because after all, if God is a partner with the farmer, shouldn't it be a 50-50 equal division? In other words, the farmer had plowed, the farmer has planted, the farmer had watered and removed all the weeds, and he should also be appreciated and credited for his efforts. And of course, we want to thank God, but why is it that God gets the choices? And the Rebbe points out that's anyone who believes in God can understand and appreciate that God does everything for us. He gives us the ability to plow. He gives us the ability to plant and to weed out and to water. All that is from God, and therefore he is the larger shareholder. And therefore, as a farmer who believes in Hashem and thanks Hashem, he must turn to God and give him the lion's share, which is the highest quality that refers to the first and the choices. The second point that Rebbe makes is that the Bikurim, these fruits are considered sacrifices, an offering to God. What did the Kohen do with those fruits? He did not place them on the altar to be burnt and consumed by the fire like other offerings, but this is an exception, and the Kohen would consume it themselves, or they can sell it and benefit from the proceeds. In other words, here God is enabling us to bring an offering where another human being can enjoy and benefit directly without making them get consumed on a fire on top of the altar. The Rebbe points out that that teaches us that not only at the time of the temple, not only in the Holy Land, which is part of the requirements for Bikurim, they must come from the Holy Land, but in today's time, we can do Bikurim. And Bikurim in Kabbalistic terminology refers to our time. One can serve God, just that in comparison to sacrifices, just like sacrifices were placed on the altar to be consumed by the fire, we take our time dedicated to God by studying Torah, by praying to God. So this is time that we don't have much say other than connecting to God through the activity we used during that time. But yet, the Torah gives us another ability to connect to God and bring an offering to God, and that is Bikurim, meaning you can take the time that God gave you, enjoy it at your own leisure, and still it becomes an offering to God. If you go to business and do business in accordance with Torah law, with the requirements of Torah law, if you eat well for the purpose of serving God, if you go to sleep and rest your body, and you socialize and you take care of your family, this is the another type of offering called Bikurim, which can be brought to God even outside of Israel, even at the time the temple unfortunately is not built and there is no Kohen there to accept the physical fruits. So we are able to take time, we are able to dedicate our energy, and don't have to, so to say, give it completely to God, which is Torah study and prayer. We can take the time that God gave us, enjoy it, do business, be creative, eat well, socialize with family and friends, and yet it can turn into an offering to God, a Bikurim. And says the Rebbe, if we are able to dedicate our time during the day to serve God and bring this type of offering to God, this becomes a sacrifice, just like at the temple time. And during the temple time, when the farmer would present the fruits to the Kohen would return to him and say, may you be blessed again next year to bring back as much as you did this year and perhaps even more. So too with us, when we dedicate ourselves and serve God by living a good life, a healthy spiritual life, by dedicating ourselves to go to business, to socialize, to eat in accordance with Torah law, because God said so, in return, God will turn back and say, may you be able to enjoy your time and your life and your surrounding again next year, and be able to bring as much or even more Bikurim, this type of offerings to me, just like you did this year. And in other words, Bikurim can be done in a spiritual sense. Bikurim is not dedicating the time just for God's sake, but can be enjoyed in our life as we enjoy, as we feel so. And in return, God will give us back a blessing that next year we can do as much and even more so. Let me conclude by wishing everyone Shabbat Shalom.